morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy hump day, everyone. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Very narrow range heading into the RTH Open right now. You see right here, just 19% of average range, 11.25 points. This is the overnight price action in anticipation of NVDA earnings after the closing bell here. We could be not necessarily this narrow the rest of the day, but it could be a back and forth compression day here today with a slight upward bias ahead of NVIDIA earnings. We do have the likely reaction to that at the open tomorrow, followed by GDP, of course, coming out 1 hour prior to the RTH Open on Thursday. And then Friday, we have Core PCE Price Index an hour before the RTH Open. So we could see quite a bit of volatility in spurts to finish the week, but today could be mostly range-bound, back and forth, upward bias, fade the edges right now, or look to avoid the inner chop here today. Once NVIDIA comes out, we could see a nice continuation into the holiday extended weekend as the market remains at or near highs here within this overall trend. So again, range bound right now, super compressed, fade the edges with an upward bias. Today's range, you may be able to get a 15-point move off of 75 to 90, or maybe 75 to 6,500 could be a 25-point move max, and back down as we trade back and forth with an upward bias at the moment. Here, looking at the NQ, similar price action here, 21% of average range, 61.5 points, super narrow as we head into the RTH Open. Again, not likely to carry that little range into the end of the day. So anticipating just shy of 200 points today, maybe 175 points, 160. And then at the end of the day, on a reaction to NVIDIA, perhaps we get a bit of a bump, and much of the day's range is seen super late in the day. Still an upward bias. Modestly here, but we're pretty much within the boundaries of this larger range. So all of this range here is containing price action for now, with, again, the potential to continue to squeeze until proven otherwise. Looking at crude oil, this one here showing a little bit of a reaction at the previous session's low. A little bit of a thrust reversal developing right now for bulls to defend 63s. There's a shot here to squeeze up toward 63.95 and 64 today. That would be a return to the previous session's mid and the key level up above. Again, this market's still building some energy down here below 64.65. At some point, perhaps we get that squeeze in September here, but right now, again, still fairly heavy and trading near that 63 level. Bulls want to keep 63 bid for a shot at 64. Looking at gold futures right now, this one's down about 0.2% at the moment. A bit of a fade back into the previous session's range. This is going to be interesting here. We've had a very bullish uptrend here over the near term. We're coming back toward yesterday's midpoint, which is the 2-day breakout highs. 34.20 in this zone right here is where bulls want to keep it bid and perhaps push this thing quietly back up. So can we get, a 20-point bounce off of current levels back up toward the 34.40, 34.45 zone? That right there would suggest a little bit more strength here. And again, 34.50 is the big level here. While we may get a big push through that level, we just haven't seen a whole lot of acceptance beyond 34.50 recently. Looking at the YM. YM is about break even right now, 17.5% of ADR. So we get 17% here, 19 in the ES, 21% of average range in the NQ. These barely register right now on the ADR scale here. Very, very tiny, just 80 points of total range right now, and that is about as tiny as it gets for the YM. Again, it could be a fade the edges with a slight upward bias. Today may have 200 points of range, 250 by the end of the day. But again, just very, very quiet at the moment. So look to avoid the chop until proven otherwise. Looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin gave up the 112 zone, dropped into 110. The previous session got a little bit of a bounce, but we still have a downtrending market in Bitcoin. It's still trying to hang on to the 110 level. I mentioned before, 110 to 112, very, very important. Can it get that bounce and make a move back toward 125, or do we fail at 110 and open up a return to 100K, or perhaps as low as that 95K level? So still a big time zone right here for Bitcoin. Again, if we have a big time failure through 110 over the next couple of days, that could open up quite a bit of selling pressure up ahead. Can bulls keep this area bid? If so, we could have a nice little squeeze right back up within the range. Looking at ETH, this one's up just over 1/3 of 1% right now. Very bullish overall, but this is starting to be quite concerning here. Massive days back to back, one huge one up, one back down. Just missed out on all-time highs by about 20-25 points. We likely could still get that here soon. Maybe we get even higher into 5,200. At what point do we get a meaningful pullback here in ETH? How far down do we go? Again, this one longer term could still have much more growth to go. But in the near term, do we get a little bit of a pullback first? How deep do we go? So again, keeping an eye on this key range right here. Big time key range. It's the August key range up and back to that level here. And the boundaries of that key range are pointing quite a bit higher for expansion. You can see right here, 6157 would be that upside target. Call it 6200. That means we could be looking at a double if we get a deep enough pullback here down the road. So again, keeping an eye on this from a longer term perspective. Right now, super narrow range, 30% of ADR. Fade the edges with a slight upward bias as the market awaits NVIDIA earnings. Once we get NVIDIA earnings, we could see quite a bit of volatility late in the day, and again at the RTH Open Thursday, alongside some key economic data points that could provide a bit more volatility as we head into the tail end of the week, but in spurts because we're going into a holiday extended weekend. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out here heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.